You're in recovery, the bills are stacking up, and you're still waiting to hear when your case will finally be over. No one's giving you straight answers, and you're stuck wondering if this will drag on for months or even years. Well, I'm Tim Miley, and I've been handling personal injury cases right here in West Virginia for more than 25 years, and I've helped hundreds of clients understand exactly what timeline to expect. In this video, I'll walk you through the real factors that affect how long a car accident case takes and what you can do to keep things moving so that you're not left in the dark waiting and guessing while your financial stress keeps piling up. How long does it take for my car accident case to be resolved? The short answer, it depends. But let's break down why. Let's get straight to the point. One of the most common questions that I hear from clients across West Virginia is, how long until my case is finally over? Well, I wish there was a one-size-fits-all answer, but the truth is every car accident case is unique. But I can walk you through the factors that usually decide how long your car accident case will take to resolve here in West Virginia. I'm going to break it down step by step from what happens the day you're hit all the way to that final check that I put in your hands. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear idea of what to expect, what might speed things up, and what could slow things down. And I'll give you real-life examples from right here in West Virginia because the answer can be different depending on your state's specific laws and insurance rules. Number 1, medical treatment, the first and most important delay. The first factor in how long your case will take is your medical treatment. If you're watching this video, you might still be in pain or even getting regular doctor visits. But here's why that matters. In almost every car accident case, you want to make sure you finish most or all of your medical treatment before you settle your claim. Now, why is that? Because once you agree to a settlement, that's it. The insurance company is off the hook for any future medical bills that you might incur. You can't come back later and ask for more money if you discover that you need a surgery a few months later. So, let's say you're in a rear-end collision on Interstate 64 near Charleston, and you're dealing with whiplash. You might go to the emergency room, follow up with your doctor, and do 6 months of physical therapy. Or maybe you hurt your back and your doctor thinks you need a year before you'll know if you're going to need surgery. That whole time your case is basically on hold, waiting for you to reach what we call maximum medical improvement. That just means that your doctors think you've healed as much as you're going to with reasonable treatment. In other words, it's as good as you're going to get. For some folks, that's a couple of weeks, but for others, it could be a year or more. The more serious your injuries, the longer your case might take, because we don't want you to settle for less than what you'll need for all of your treatment. Number 2, investigation and gathering evidence. Time well spent. Now, once you're on the road to recovery, or even while you're still being treated, your lawyer will be working to gather all the evidence for your case. This part is crucial, and it can't be rushed. We're talking things like, number 1, getting the police report from the state police, sheriff's office, or a city police department. Number 2, collecting your medical records and bills, which can sometimes take weeks, even months, to come from hospitals and doctors' offices. Number 3, taking witness statements from anyone who might have seen the crash. Or number 4, photos or video from the scene, and sometimes video footage from nearby businesses' security cameras or traffic cams. If the crash was serious, maybe even hiring an expert to reconstruct what happened might be necessary. But this investigation step typically takes 1 to 3 months, but it can be longer for big cases if you were treated by lots of doctors. Here's an example. I recently worked with a client from Beckley who was rear-ended by a coal truck. She went to 2 different hospitals, had surgery, and saw 5 different specialists. Just gathering every record and bill took over 3 months, but it was worth it because those records proved how seriously hurt she was. Number 3, filing the claim and negotiating. Playing the waiting game with insurance. After the evidence is gathered and you've finished treatment and we've collected all of your medical records and bills related to your crash, we will put together what's called a settlement demand. This is basically a letter to the at-fault driver's insurance company stating what happened, what you went through, and how much money you need to be fairly compensated. Now, insurance companies in West Virginia have deadlines they're supposed to follow. Once we submit a claim, they are required to provide a response to it within 15 business days. Most often, their response will be to request more time or to request more information. However, they usually make a decision within 30 to 45 days as to whether they are going to settle your claim. But negotiations can take longer. sometimes several rounds of back and forth. Now, you might get a quick offer. Sometimes that's because the insurance company knows your injuries are real, the other driver was clearly at fault, and the injuries and numbers are straightforward. More often, though, the first offer is way too low, and we negotiate for you. Depending on how stubborn the insurance company is and how complex your case is, negotiations can last anywhere from a couple weeks to several months. Let's say you were sideswiped in Martinsburg. The insurance company agrees their driver was at fault, but they think your shoulder pain should have healed after a month, even though your doctor says otherwise. We may need to push back for you by getting extra documentation or even threaten to file a lawsuit. That all adds time, but it's often the only way to get what you truly deserve. The bottom line, if you want the absolute fastest settlement, you might get a check in your hand in 2 to 3 months after your treatment ends, and that's only if the case is simple and the insurance company doesn't fight. For most people, expect 4 to 6 months after you're done treating before everything wraps up. Number 4, filing a lawsuit. While sometimes you have to go to court. Most car accident cases in West Virginia settle out of court, but not all. If the insurance company refuses to make a fair offer, or they blame you for the crash, your lawyer might need to file a lawsuit. Now, don't let that word scare you. Filing a lawsuit doesn't mean you're going to trial next week. In fact, even after a lawsuit is filed, most cases settle before you ever see the inside of a courtroom. But filing suit does change the timeline. West Virginia courts move at their own speed, and every county is different. Some cases might resolve in a few months, while others can take a year or more. And here's why. The other side has to officially answer your lawsuit. That can take weeks. Both sides gather more evidence, sometimes called discovery. That can take months, especially if there are lots of witnesses or expert reports to be reviewed. There might be mediation, where both sides try to work out a deal before the judge sets a trial date. If your case actually does go to trial, it could be over a year from when you filed the lawsuit. As an example, I had a client in Morgantown whose case settled 6 months after we filed suit. In another, we went all the way to a jury trial in Kanawha County, and the case took almost 2 years. It's not the norm, but it can happen, especially in cases with serious injuries, big insurance policies, or complicated facts. Now, keep in mind, just because a case goes to court doesn't mean you've done anything wrong. Sometimes it's the only way to make the insurance company pay you what's fair. Number 5, special factors in West Virginia that can change the timeline. Every state's rules are a bit different, and West Virginia has a few things that might make your accident case move faster or slower. First, West Virginia follows what's called a modified comparative fault rule. That means if you're found partly at fault for the crash, your settlement can be reduced. If the other driver's insurance company says you were 30% responsible, your payout could drop by that percentage. Sometimes arguing about who's at fault is what really drags things out. Second, our state has a 2-year deadline to file a lawsuit after a car accident. That's called a statute of limitations. If you wait too long, you lose your right to sue, even if your injuries are severe. That's why it's important to start the process early, even if you're not sure whether you want to settle or go to court. Lastly, insurance companies know the local landscape. Here in West Virginia, some counties have a reputation for juries that are tough on insurance companies. Now, in those places, insurance companies might settle a case more quickly to avoid going to trial. In other counties, they have a reputation for being tough on the injured person bringing the lawsuit. But your lawyer will know how local rules and attitudes can affect your timeline and your likelihood of success. Number 6, what you can do to help move things along. You can't control how long it takes you to heal, and you can't make the insurance company act faster. But there are ways you can help keep your case moving. Going to all your medical appointments and following your doctor's advice is one. Gaps in treatment can make your case harder to prove and slower to resolve. Respond quickly when your lawyer asks for more information or paperwork from you. If we need your updated insurance card or a list of your doctors, don't wait to provide that. Be honest and thorough with your attorney. If you had a previous injury, let us know up front. Surprises just slow things down. Make sure you keep all records and bills and receipts related to your crash. The more organized you are, the easier it is for us to bill your case. Key takeaway, most West Virginia car accident cases take 6 to 12 months, but yours could be faster or slower. So, if you're in West Virginia and you're wondering how long will it take to resolve my car accident case, here's a quick recap. First, it depends on your injuries and how long you need to heal. Second, gathering all the paperwork takes time, especially if you've seen lots of doctors and spent a lot of time treating for those injuries. Third, negotiating with insurance companies can take weeks or months, even longer if they push back. Fourth, filing a lawsuit usually means a longer process, but sometimes it's the only way to get fair compensation. State rules, local courts, and even your own actions all play a role. For most people, expect somewhere between 6 months to a year, but always remember, a faster settlement isn't always a better one. Take the time needed to heal, to gather all your evidence, and to let your lawyer fight for the compensation you deserve. Ready for the next step? If you found this helpful, you'll definitely want to watch our next video. It's titled, 3 Things You Must Not Do After a Car Accident. Even a small mistake can cost you thousands or ruin your case entirely. Don't risk it. Watch that video next to protect your rights and make sure you don't fall into the most common traps we see every day. See you over there.